Hey y'all, so this video is going to be a little bit different. You hear me talk a lot about money and saving money and never really about debt or like me telling you what to do with your money. But this one today, I'm going to share with you what we are doing to get out of debt. We have a goal to be out of debt by 2027. If plans go like we're hoping, it will happen before the end of this year. If not, if we stay on track with where we're at right now without the improvement that we are expecting, then it will happen like very early in 2027. So I'm saying by the end of this year because it will just be like right there by early 2027 when we will be able to pay off all of our debt. Now, let me back it up and kind of tell you money amounts. I don't like telling our exact finances just out here to YouTube land, but just to give you an idea, our debt is about a quarter to a fifth of what our annual income is. So just to give you an idea, that would be like if we were making $100,000 a year, our debt would be between like 20 and 25,000, or half that. If our income is like $50,000 a year, our debt would be between like 10 and 14,000. I don't like throwing out the exact numbers. I don't know. I just feel weird telling y'all exactly all this stuff. But that's where we're at. So, we don't have a huge home loan or anything like that. We're not trying to pay off a big, $250,000 mortgage or anything like that. We have a bank loan, like a personal line of credit, and then we also have the consumer debt, the credit card debt. That is our biggest one. We kind of have a cycle of building that credit card debt up and then paying it off with our income taxes. We are working off of one income, and we are on the low end. Our income is not very high, so come tax time, we do get money back. We've got 3 kids. We're a family of 5. So we get money back at this point every year. We already paid, that ratio of our debt, we just paid a big chunk off when we got our income taxes back this past year. I'm recording this now in April of 2026. So it's just been a couple of months that we got our income taxes and we paid a big chunk off, or that ratio would have been a lot different of those numbers that I just give you. But that's where we're at right now. And we kind of said, we're going to get this done. I'm tired of paying interest. We've got our monthly payments and the interest is just crazy. Credit card debt is insane. Our credit card that we've had, this account that we've had for we've been married 19 years. I think we've had this account for about 18 years, if not going on 19. The interest rate on it is 25%, I think now, 24%, 25, which I don't think is that abnormal. And then our line of credit at the bank is right now at 10%, 10.7. When we started that loan in 2021, yeah, I think that one was only at like 6 or 7%, and it has just climbed and climbed. So I'm ready to get out of that. I'm tired of paying interest to these loans and the credit cards. So we're done with it, and we are going to get done with it this year. So I'm going to share with you stuff that we are doing to make that happen. The first thing you got to do, and I'm telling you what you got to do based on what we're doing, what I'm doing. You got to have the right mindset. One of the things that I've been doing a lot of is watching a lot of YouTube videos, listening to audiobooks, and I went and searched, like how to get out of debt or how to be good with my money or whatever. And you'll fill your socials with that. Like, search that one time on something, just like, you can mention something one time anywhere near your phone, and then all of your ads start popping up related to that thing. Search one thing on YouTube and it's going to throw all kinds of videos at you. So if you want to learn about finances and how to get better with your money, just search one YouTube video and it'll give you all kinds of stuff. And I assume if you clicked on this video that you are in the process or interested in getting out of debt yourself, or, this is something that you want to hear about. So you need to have a goal. If you don't already have a goal of getting out of debt, you need to make a goal. You have to give yourself a time frame. We are doing a year. We're saying by the end of the year, or like super early next year, we're going to be done with the debt, and I'm already looking ahead at what we're going to be able to do with all that money that we've been paying toward these loans and toward this interest, and going to be able to turn that around and put it toward like investments so that we can build money instead of giving away the money. So you got to give yourself a time limit, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 5 years, whatever, everybody's different with the amount of debt that they have. So just give yourself a time limit, but I wouldn't make it too far. I've been, along with the finance stuff I've been listening to, it kind of goes hand in hand with productivity. So I've also been listening to suggested books and YouTube stuff that's a lot about productivity. And one of the things that is mentioned in several different things that I have read and listened to, there's a law, I think it's called Parkinson's law, where if you, basically it says like if you give yourself a certain amount of time, it's going to take that much time. So if you say 5 years, your brain is going to be like, well, I got 5 years to do this. And you might get it done in that 5 years. But if you say, I've only got 1 year to do this, then you're going to cram it in and you're going to make it happen in a year. So you got to give yourself a realistic time frame, but then also make it a little bit urgent so that it's something that is constantly on the back of your mind to get it done. Now, this is just kind of some one-time things that you need to do that I did myself. You need to stop all the spending, stop all the advertising, stop all the shopping. I went through my emails and I unsubscribed just pretty much every day as I was checking my emails. And I'm still doing it now because there are some places that I was only getting like monthly emails or quarterly emails from. Anything that's going to advertise to you that is going to tempt you to buy something because they're going to show you, you got this really good sale, but you don't need it. Go ahead and unsubscribe from all the shopping stuff. Don't get emails from places that's going to tempt you to buy something that you don't need. Same thing with like all your socials. Unfollow people. If you're watching somebody that is constantly getting, if you're into, I don't know, makeup, and you're constantly watching somebody that's buying new makeup all the time, and you've got to cut that out. So don't tempt yourself. Don't watch those. Unfollow some people. You can go back and follow them again later when you can afford that stuff and afford to be tempted by watching that stuff. But whatever it is, just go through all your socials and unfollow people that might tempt you to spend more money in this time that you're trying to get out of debt. Don't window shop. Don't go for fun window shopping anywhere. Don't decide to just run in a store, just look around, because you might buy something you don't need. So that's one habit you gotta cut out. If you've got a family, you need to go ahead and prep your family and let them know that this is happening. We explain to our kids, we've got a 16-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 4-year-old. We explain to them that this year we are cutting back on the entertainment. We've got certain things that we do through the year, and we went ahead and told them, this isn't happening, but that it's only for a year. Next year should be better, and we will have a little bit more wiggle room, so we'll be able to do some more of the fun stuff. But we told them that we're focusing on the free stuff, the free activities that we can do, or the super cheap activities. We're not spending a lot of money on like friends' birthday parties. We're completely sticking to the budget on things that we do have planned. We didn't cut out everything in our plans, but we let them know that we're going to be a little bit stricter, the eating out, the random Walmart grabbing toys and random stuff, we're cutting way back on that. But again, letting them know that it's just for a short amount of time, and then it'll be a little bit better in a year from now. All right, now we're going to get on to the even more not so fun stuff. So if you're still watching, how about liking this video and hitting the subscribe? That would really help me. One of the things that I'm trying to build in this year is my YouTube channel and get it monetized. So I'm like 300 subscribers from the subscriber line that you have to, or the subscriber amount that you have to have. And my watch hours went way down. They tanked when I didn't post any videos the end of last year. But I have been consistent now since we made this goal. I have had a video posted every Monday since January 1st. So if you would, hit the subscribe, hit the like, that would be great. Or you can share the video too. That would be great too. So now on to the really not fun stuff, but stuff you gotta do. So this, if you listen to other videos, they call this part of your plan, of your getting out of debt plan, stop the bleeding. You got to stop the money leaving. You've got to check all your finances. You've got to check all your accounts, write everything down. You can't get out of the debt if you don't know what the debt is. So you could go through your bank account, your credit card, whatever you use to spend, go through and look at the last 12 months. You might have yearly fees that are coming out somewhere that just happened or was 6 months ago, you're not going to remember. So you can't just look at the last month to see what your expenses are. You need to look through the last 12 months and write down everything that has come out. If you've got an annual recurring bill, you need to write that down. If you've got a monthly subscriptions, you need to write all that down. Get everything wrote down. Everything that you pay or have paid in the last 12 months that's going to happen again in the next 12 months if you don't stop it. Write it all down. Write down all of your debt, every loan that you have, everything. You've got to get it all wrote down. And then write down what your income is. All your streams of income, whatever it is, write down what your weekly income is, monthly, however you want to do that. But have everything wrote down or in a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet. Everything I have is on spreadsheets. But have it in front of you so that you can actually see those numbers, because you can't fix it if you don't know what you're fixing. So get those numbers wrote down. And you gotta face what you've done, the credit card debt, whatever it is. Just look at it, feel bad about it for a second, and then get over it. They're just numbers that you gotta fix now. Once you have all that wrote down and you see where all your money has been going, you need to cancel stuff. Like my big thing and what I've been telling my family is the entertainment. We're cutting out the entertainment because you can only do so much cutting with your bills when it's like your utilities. So the entertainment is what has been going. All the streaming we canceled. The only streaming that we kept was our Prime Video, because that's part of our Prime account, and I use Amazon for so much stuff. So we do pay the yearly Amazon Prime subscription, and that gives us the free shipping, and I order a lot of stuff, so that free shipping does help me out, and the Prime Video. So other than that, we canceled the streaming. We did have like Netflix. I think we had Disney. We did like the Disney Hulu bundle. Canceled that. XM satellite radio, we don't have that. That one's a pain to cancel, and that one they really get you. So if you'll get a free 3 months or something with a new vehicle, and then they'll call you and tell you that if you call and try to cancel, they'll be like, well, we can give you 6 months at this rate or 12 months at this rate. So they're really hard to cancel. That's one of the ones that is always a pain for me when I would call, and every 6 months or 3 months, whenever the promotion would end, and I would have to call and be like, I'm going to cancel. Well, we can give you this discount. Okay, sure. But you just have to put your foot down. No, I want to cancel. No, I want to cancel. Every time they throw a number at you. No, I want to cancel. And just remember, it's just going to be, if you really love your satellite radio, you can get it back next year when you're out of debt, if you want to. So just put your foot down, canceling. The streaming services are really easy to cancel. You just go in there and click it and cancel it. And then you can have it for the remainder of the month, usually on all those. If you do have Amazon, check all your memberships and subscriptions on your Amazon account. Just go to the link that shows all of your memberships and just check them off. Click the little thing to cancel. And you just have to be firm with it, because it's going to say, are you sure? Are you sure? You could get this discount. Are you sure? Just keep clicking until they're gone, until they're canceled. All the entertainment, the audio or Audible, the Amazon Music, all the Plus stuff, anything that's entertainment, just get rid of it. You don't need it while you're trying to get out of debt. That stuff really adds up. If you've got a subscription that's $25 a month, that's $300 in the year. Imagine if you had $300 to just put on one of your debts. Just somebody handed you $300 and you get to take a chunk out of that. You're going to have $300 by the end of the year to put on your debt, to take a chunk out of it by just canceling one $25 a month subscription. And I think that's about what satellite radio is at the cheapest, when you're not getting a promotion or whatever. And now the stuff that's like your regular utility kind of things, power bill you can't really do much about. We did get not a discount, but we did lower our power bill because we have one of the outdoor light poles, like the lights that come on when it gets dark. We have one of those in the yard, and we were throwing around the idea of getting rid of it because it was about $26 a month. And we did. We called, I asked, can I just turn that light pole off? Do we have to have that? But it's separate on the bill from our regular lighting fee. So I was like, I think we can cancel it because it's like a separate item. And I called, and sure enough, we could cancel it. So that's about $26 a month that we're not having to pay now. And so I think some people probably think that's weird to cancel that. And we'll probably get it back next winter because our yard is super, super dark, and I don't want to be coming home like when I'm coming home from work at 5:30 or 6 o'clock and it's already dark. That's kind of weird. or I think that might feel kind of weird to me, or we might get some good solar lights out there. But yeah, we turned that light off. My oldest daughter loves it. She says it's not, the light isn't filtering into her room like it used to, so her room is nice and dark at night. But anyway, see if that's an option for you. Or another thing was our internet. We do use the internet because I have to have it for things like this. We do a lot of uploading and downloading, so we do use the internet, and I guess I could do without it if I really had to, but we kept the internet. And I did call. You really need to call and check those, because if you're not getting any kind of deal, you could call and ask if there's anything they can do. And usually maybe $5 or $10. When I called this time around in January, they reduced it by $10 a month. And I think that's a 12-month period. So next January, I'll have to call and ask them to give us another promotional discount. But it was about $10 a month that they knocked off of that. So set aside a time, a day, get all your stuff together, like print out your power bill, have a copy of it, your internet bill, your phone, whatever you got, your cell phones, and just call them and be like, hey, you can just say, I'm struggling financially right now. Is there anything that you can do to help me lower this bill? Is there anything that I can do to change this? Your insurance, your car insurance, same thing. Call your rep. Got some financial difficulties right now. Is there anything you can do? And they may tell you some stuff that you can move around, maybe some deductibles you can change. And even if you just save $5 a month or $10 a month, that is $5 or $10 a month that you can turn around. Don't act like you got an extra $5 or $10 a month. Just take that out of that bill money and put it straight onto debt money. Don't pretend like you've got it to spend. It's not there. We have, I think, cumulatively, with all the stuff that I canceled and got discounts on, it's about $78 a month that I am now, like, I'm not acting like we have that extra money. It's just going straight onto our debt payments, which is mainly the credit card right now. I'm trying to get that done first. I'm trying to take care of that because it's got the highest interest rate. So knocking that out now that's our priority right now, is knocking that one out. So all the money that I'm saved, I do our bills weekly. And I send a payment to the credit card weekly. So all that money is just going on a little tab on my spreadsheet, and it just gets added to the payment that I'm putting on the credit card. Something I think that some people would probably tell you is a bad idea, but I don't know. You can check on this one. But if you have the option to put some of your debt onto another debt, not like calling a company and getting a consolidated debt. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if that's a good idea. I've heard finance people talk about that not being a good idea, so I couldn't tell you on that. But I didn't do it this time. I did something a little bit different this time. But credit cards, well, they'll send you a promotional credit card and it'll say like a balance transfer at 0% for so many months. If you've got a plan to be out of debt in 12 to 18 months and you get a credit card that's going to give you 0% interest on a balance transfer for that amount of time, and you are very confident that you're going to be able to pay it off, don't do it if you're not confident. If you are very confident that you can pay that credit card off in that amount of time that you transfer your balance to, I would say go ahead and do it. I have done that in the past. And it got us really close to being out of debt. We have been out of debt before, and then stuff happens and we have to put stuff on the credit card, and it's just a cycle for us. We're trying to break that cycle this year with what we're doing. But we have done the balance transfer and it worked out. So you got to be careful. Look at the details on that. They will charge you a fee up front. If you transferring that is not going to save you more than what that fee is going to be, then don't worry about it. But that's something to look into. What I did was, our line of credit at the bank is at, I told you it's like the 10.7% right now, and our credit card is at about 26%. So it makes more sense for the remainder of this year to put the majority of that debt on the 10% so that we're not gaining that interest, losing that interest, losing the money paying that interest. So I got a little bit more on that line of credit, and I paid a big chunk of the credit card off. So we don't have as much hanging on that credit card for the next 12 months, and that will be paid off a lot sooner than my payments. Like I told you, that $78 that I've got now that I'm putting on the credit card, this will be paid off a lot sooner than I had originally planned, because I hadn't planned on doing that transfer stuff. Or not the transfer, but the line of credit, adding that to that and paying it off with that. But now that I've done that, credit card's going to be paid off a lot sooner, and I can start putting that $78 toward the line of credit. And we will have that paid off. Everything's going to be paid off at the end of the year, but me doing that, it made my, I've got a spreadsheet, of course, for everything. So I have a spreadsheet with month to month of all these bills, and I got like a future projection for when this stuff's going to be paid off. It bumped it up about 2 months of being able to get that stuff paid off just by not having that big chunk on the 25%, 26% interest rate credit card. So if you can move some stuff around, do some transfers or something, make sure that it is not going to hurt you in the long run. Make sure you are going to be able to pay it off, and that is something you can handle, and that it's not going to, add up and hurt you in the end. Make sure it's something that's solid, a good plan. All right, that was a lot of like one-time things that you can do. My next set of things are more of like habits and things that you're gonna have to do and that we are doing for the remainder of the time that you are trying to get out of debt. Big one is meal planning. Grocery prices are insane right now, so you've got to meal plan. You've got to eat less, eat out less, cut out the junk. Meal planning always helps us so that we're not going to the grocery store just grabbing random stuff and then throwing stuff away that didn't get used. So if you are not one that meal plans, you need to get in that habit. Look up some stuff on Pinterest, find some ideas, but do some sort of meal plan, and don't grocery shop without a meal plan. Maybe start looking at some alternatives to some of the stuff you buy. If some stuff we're name brand snobs for, like we can't not get the name brand because it's just gross. But if there's some swaps that you can make and you and your family's not going to mind, go for the store brand on some stuff and just start knocking out a few dollars here and there, and it'll add up. Don't pay for other people's stuff. If you have the habit of being with your friends or your other family members or something, and they just throw around, going and ordering food, and you get stuck with the bill, sometimes you're going to have to put your foot down and say, no. We do have a situation like that. It's usually on Sundays, and we would end up, last year, I don't know how many times we ended up paying for like 10 to 12 people for a meal, eating out and cooking the meal, and we ended up paying all of it. And it's not so much that the other people would not have paid, but it was just an awkward situation where we had to be like, hey, are you going to pay us? Some of the people assumed that the other people paid us, and the other people assumed that they had already paid us, and it was just awkward situation. So you need to prepare for that. I've made it known that we have some financial goals, and you don't have to tell people like, I'm broke, I can't pay for it. You can say, I've got some financial goals, and this just isn't working for us right now. So if we're going to eat out, or we're going to fix this meal, we need everybody to pitch in. And go ahead and say ahead of time, like, hey, I need $20 from everybody. This meal is going to be ready at such and such a time. I need $15 from everybody. And just say, we've got some financial goals, and this doesn't fit for us this year. We can't do it this year, so we're going to have everybody pay their own way, or something like that. If you're in the habit of going out with people, and maybe you have acted like you're the person who can afford this, and you've actually been putting on the credit card and you can't afford it, you're going to have to say you can't do it anymore, or just avoid the situation. Don't go out anymore. If you did not, like when I said at the beginning where you have to look at your debt, you have to look at the numbers and know what the numbers are. If you were in the habit of not looking at those numbers, you're going to have to do it now. I would say daily. I look at our stuff daily. I check our accounts daily, where we spend our money at, and make sure that we didn't make a mistake somewhere. Make sure that there's not an accidental charge coming out, like we didn't accidentally sign up. Make sure my kids didn't accidentally like sign up on one of their devices to get some kind of monthly recurring fee, or download a game or something. You got to look at your money every single day. Log into your account, just give it a look over, see what got charged the day before. Make sure nothing crazy. I mean, it could just be something like you accidentally put in one of your auto pay bill things wrong, or a bill got paid twice or something. It's good to look at it. It's good to know. Just get in the habit of looking at your accounts every day. Make sure everything looks good. Like I said, we're cutting out a lot of entertainment. So one of the things you're going to have to get in the habit of doing is not having that entertainment. If you're used to going to the movies, every couple of weeks, you're gonna have to cut that out. Going to the movies is so expensive. We have 3 kids. It is so expensive to go to a movie. We do have one that kind of local to us that does super cheap movies, and then you can do like the discount. I think usually Tuesdays is a discount day for most theaters where you can get tickets for like $5 or $6 or something. But that's still expensive. 5 people at $5 plus snacks and drinks. We're gonna spend $50 at the least to go to a movie. It's kind of hard to tell kids that they can't have a drink or a snack when you're going and sitting through a 2-hour movie. So you might just have to avoid that. And find some free stuff you can do. If it's summertime, you can get outside. The streaming, if you've cut out your streaming, we've used Tubi recently. I think Pluto is another free one. We do have our Amazon Prime, so we have plenty of streaming. YouTube has movies. If you still have access to YouTube and those kind of streamings, there's plenty of free stuff that you can stream, movies and shows. Something that we have talked about is like, this kind of goes for everything, especially our house. We've been noticing a lot more stuff that our house needs. But we're saying, okay, next year, we'll take care of it next year. So we're focusing on maintaining, not improving. So there's stuff we want to do to our house to make things better, but it's not necessary right now. Same thing with like our vehicles. If it's not a super mechanical issue, we're not fixing it right now. One of our vehicles, the windshield wiper fluid doesn't work. We're not fixing that right now. We might fix that this year, but right now we're not fixing it. It's not an emergency. My daughter, who just started driving, the truck that she is driving, we had some problem with the tires, and we had a situation where we had to get the valve stems replaced, and there was an option of replacing the valve stems and the sensors, or just replacing the valve stems. And the only difference was there was not a safety issue. Like I didn't slack on any kind of safety issue. The only difference is that her light is going to be on her dash that has the from the sensor, like the tire pressure warning. That light's just going to stay on all the time. So for half the money, less than half the money of getting all that stuff replaced, we're just going to deal with the light being on. And I asked her if she cared if the light was on. She doesn't care. So we will get that fixed next year. But again, it's kind of like a cosmetic thing. Don't come at me and say that it's a safety issue, because we're making sure she has her tires checked. We got the problem fixed. The mechanic was not saying that it was a safety issue to not get that fixed. So there's just a light that stays on all the time. We will make sure that her tires are maintenance and kept up. So there's not a safety issue. It's just the fact that light's going to be on, and we'll go get the sensors fixed next year, spend the money on it, and get that light to go off on her dash. But for less than half the money, I was more than okay with that. And that can be the same for your clothes, house, all that stuff. Focus on maintaining, not improving. If you only have a couple of nice shirts that you wear to work and you spill something, stain something, rip something, you might need a new shirt. But don't just go shopping because it's a new season. Just maintain. Don't buy more, just maintain where you're at. If you are not used to using apps for stuff, there are so many like restaurants that if I'm not saying we're never eating out, because we are going to eat out, but I use an app for just about every place that I don't even remember the last time I didn't use an app somewhere where we were eating. If you download the app at Chili's, I learned this from my daughter, you get the free chips and dip with, just anytime you go in, you get free chips and dip as long as you let them know that you've got the Chili's app. So that's like a free appetizer. And we used that for her birthday. We went to Chili's because she had her app, and we got the free chips and dip, and she got a free dessert that we shared. So download the app. McDonald's, you get points like crazy, and I usually can get a free Happy Meal for my kids. Even with the low amount of times that we go to McDonald's, I can get a free Happy Meal about every 2 months or so. The points add up really, really quick. Even Little Caesars, like that's about the cheapest pizza you can get around here. Little Caesars has an app. We always order on there and get it ready for pickup. But they have deals on there that you can get discounts. Even if it's just like a 10 or 15% off your order, use the discounts. Download the apps. If there's going to be a place, I'll download the app. And if it's a place we're not going to regularly go back to, I will download the app just to get a discount. And sometimes when you first download an app for, it could be like shopping, clothing store. If you've got to buy some clothes and you are not on their email list, go ahead and go to the website or download the app, get on their email list and get that first initial email where it'll be like, welcome, here's your 10% discount, and use it. Download the apps, get on the email lists. Something else that I'm doing, I've done this for a long time, but I'm making it a habit. I'm putting it on my calendar to do once a month. We are going to the consignment store to consign things, not necessarily to buy things, but I am putting it on my calendar so that I make it a habit of doing this monthly, because I also had the habit of putting it off and putting it off until I have so much stuff of my kids that they've outgrown, toys that they're not using anymore, that I'm like, oh, just forget it. I'm going to take it to Goodwill and drop it off. I'm not going to mess with the consigning. And it's really not that much. It's not that big a deal for me to take stuff to consignment. So I've got it on my calendar now to do it once a month and get it dropped off. I haven't even looked at my payments. I haven't picked up my payment in several months. So I'm betting that I've got quite a chunk that I'm going to be able to get a big check from that is going to go straight to our debt. So if you're used to just taking your stuff to Goodwill, maybe find a consignment store somewhere near you where you can consign it and get a little bit of money back instead of, I mean, yeah, donating is good, but right now you're trying to get out of debt. You need the money. So instead of donating, try consigning for right now. If you don't like it, you can quit doing it next year or whenever, when you're out of debt. But right now you need the money. Now, everything that I've been saying is about saving money. So now I'm going to switch gears and talk about bringing more money in. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where I have a plan of where our finances are going to be in a year. But then I also have my kind of, I can't pinpoint a money amount, but we are working toward raising our income. I just can't put, I can't put a solid number on that yet. But you need to, while you're doing all this other stuff of saving money, if you can, if it's feasible, you need to raise your income. Because if you're in debt, that means that you are, if you're just like way overspending and you have plenty of income and you can stop a ton of spending and put all that on debt and get out of debt, maybe the spending is your problem. But a lot of times I think it's going to be that the income is also your problem. So if you have cut out everything and you still are looking at a super long-term plan for getting out of debt because your income is not high enough, you need to work on raising your income. So depending on your situation, our family situation does not really look like we could, get a second job. But if you are single, married, no kids, something like that, and you can go get a second job, spend some of the extra time that you were, just sitting on the couch watching TV, and you can go get a second job for a couple hours or do a weekend thing or something, then go do that and pretend like that money doesn't exist and put it straight on your debt. I'm trying to work more hours at my job. I have a job, if you are not familiar with me, we are living off the one income. My husband does a little bit of stuff, gets his income from home, but he is mostly home with the kids. We homeschool, so he's mostly home with the kids, and the income that he does get, he does from home. But he is also working on another line of income that we are hoping to start seeing quite a bit from. It's just going to take a couple months. I will probably share something about that in a few months once he really gets that going. But right now on my end, I have a job where I go, 9 to 5 kind of job. I'm trying to work more hours on that. I got kind of slack on that last year, but, just for the year, give it a certain amount of time. If you can work overtime hours, just for that certain amount of time, just know that it's not going to last forever. But if you do this for a few months, a year, whatever, maybe take a month where you work a bunch of overtime. If it's possible, work a bunch of overtime and then take a break so you don't burn out, and then go back to your normal hours, and then do another month of working a bunch of overtime and then take a break. But if you can get more hours at the job you already have, or do something to get a raise, do that. That would be great. Something else that we are doing, I want to work from home. I want to get our income to where we can be at home or just be out and about, stuff that we can do online, passive income kind of things like the YouTube. I'm doing this at home, and I can take this with me anywhere I've got internet. I can do this. And then something else that I've been doing is making books, publishing books on Amazon. It's called KDP Publishing, and I've actually made a couple books. This is 2 of them right here. This one's actually already sold. It was only up for 2 weeks and one of these sold. It's a word search book. I found you can YouTube search selling word search books on Amazon KDP, and you'll find some tutorials. But yeah, I've made some books. This one has already sold. And I only did that like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So I'm doing that to get a little bit of money. I have, with my YouTube, I've been working with affiliates. You probably saw that I did a video a couple weeks ago where I had got a sponsorship. So I got that, and that money went straight to our debt. And I have signed up for a bunch of affiliates, if that's something you could do. If you are, if you regularly shop somewhere, you can check to see if they have an affiliate program. Just search that name. Like I have my Masterbooks affiliate. I have Knotgrass History. The curriculum that we use, I have an affiliate link for that. So I get a little bit of money every time you shop through my link. So if you've got a regular place that you shop, just search like Masterbooks affiliate program, Walmart affiliate program. Walmart's really hard to get into. I think you have to have a certain amount of subscribers or something, because I've not been approved for that one. But just wherever you shop, affiliate program, search it, and you can share it on your social media. Look at you got to look at the rules that they have. You usually have to have some sort of like a YouTube channel or Instagram or something. But if that's something that you could do, go ahead and try that. It's like stuff I'm already doing. I share it and I get a little bit of money back from it. If there is anything that you have that you can sell it. I said about the consignment stuff, but if you have like big items in your house that you're not using anymore, furniture, things like that, put it on Facebook Marketplace, and try to sell stuff that you're not using anymore. If there's like a specialty store somewhere for something that you don't want to just take to a random consignment store, it's not like kids clothes. If you've got specialty items, maybe look for stores around in your area that would be interested in buying those things. We just finally got rid of a vehicle. We didn't get a whole lot of money for it. It was kind of a vehicle that had been sitting for a long time, so it was kind of a junk. But we did get a little bit of money for that, and that went straight onto our debt. If you have multiple vehicles that you're paying for, you're paying the insurance, you're paying the gas, if you've got debt from a car payment and you've got more cars than you need, you might need to sell a car. Or if you have a super expensive car payment, you might need to sell that car for a cheaper car. What if you're paying $600, $800 a month for a car payment? Imagine if that car payment was only $400 a month, and you had $400 a month to put towards your debt, what that would look like at the end of a year if you're trying to do this in a year. So anything you can think of, as you're looking, and stuff will come to mind as you look at your income, you look at your debt, you look at your bills. Just look at them and think, where is this money going and where could it be going? I'm paying this much a month for whatever this is. What if I was putting that much money on my debt? Look at how much debt you have. If you got $50,000 in debt and you've got $400 that you could save on a car payment just by, it's aggravating to do things like that. It's aggravating to call and ask for discounts. But just imagine that amount of money. If you had $400 a month less of a car payment and you could put that on that debt, what that would look like at the end of 12 months. Not only $400 a month, but you're saving the interest of taking off $400 a month chunk off of that debt. You're taking that off the interest too. So $400 is not just $400. You're saving more than that with the interest that you're not paying. And the little stuff adds up. Like I say, just the little, me canceling streaming, our outdoor light, just getting discounts on things. It was about 78 to 80. It may have been more than that. I think I've canceled something else since I figured that. We may be over $80 a month that I'm being able to put on our debt that we were just paying for stuff, and we're not missing it. Like we're not living any worse off now from getting those discounts and canceling some of the streaming services. Like we're fine. Don't even notice it. Other than now, I'm being able to put $78 a month on the debt and getting that off of that interest rate. I had a lot of notes on this. I think I have went through all of my notes and give you everything that we have been doing. I started making, the notes for this video, and I got to the end of the one page and I kept going, and I had 2 pages of notes. Normally I only have like half a page of notes before I get on here to do video. Sometimes a whole page, but I had 2 pages because the more I started thinking about it, I was like, I did this and I did this and we're doing this and we're doing this because we are serious about it this year. And hopefully here in a couple of months I can make another video and update y'all on where we are with this, what has worked, maybe if I find some new things that we can do, and I'll be able to share an update. If you are going through this situation, you're trying to get out of debt, you're just starting, you're in the middle of it, you're at the end of it, put it in the comments to let us know where you're at with that, and we can kind of encourage each other and help each other with this. And I'll hopefully, like I say, I'll post another video in a few months, do kind of an update, and you can follow along with that, and we can keep up with each other and help each other out with this. But that is all I have for you today. I will see you in the next video. Bye.